You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense.
Why hello Tiernan, it's me, Bobbery Bezos, and I'm writing to let you know that this video is sponsored by
Raid Shadow Legends.
Bye. Wow, thanks Bobbery for that amazing intro, and thanks
Raid Shadow Legends
for sponsoring this week's episode. I'm not really sure what they're doing to sponsor it. I haven't been sent any sort of merchandise or any money or anything, but I guess I'll find out very soon just what they're... Oh, right, I guess that's probably going to happen quite a lot. Thanks,
Raid Shadow Legends.
And also, hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that's suitable for all ages from... to... and everything in between. I'm Tiernan, and this week, listeners, after being evicted from the seaside, I have found the absolutely perfect spot for a new podcast studio. It's quiet, it's toasty warm, it's got great lighting, and I don't have to share it with anyone, well, except a slightly eccentric scientist who, well, I've spoken to him, I've said, can you please stop doing big villainous laughs while I'm recording this show? And he said,
one day I will rule the world! Sorry, I mean, yes, of course.
So that's nice. Any guesses where we are, listeners? Linda, do you want to let the listeners know this week where we've moved to? Actually, that's a point. I haven't really left any details for Linda where our new address is since I left Comedy Club for Kids HQ. No wonder she's not been turning up. Or turned up even once in the 7 years before that. Maybe she sort of guessed we might be moving. Oops, oh well, she seems pretty savvy. I'm sure she will work it out and be here any minute now. Raid Shadow Legends, any ideas where we are?
Raid Shadow Legends.
Okay, thanks for that. So, listeners, the new office is, as it's up to me to tell you, inside a volcano. Yes, that is right. What could be safer than a deadly, toxic, stinky hippo sanctuary or the sea where squids kept pranking me than the inside of a live volcano? All my podcast equipment keeps melting, but who cares? It is definitely a good place to be. So, with that good news, let me check the mailbag. Ah, it's so hot to touch! And the letters are on fire. Okay, well, I'd better just read these very quickly then. This is from C. Ranneberger on Spotify, who says, huh? Correct answer, C. Ranneberger. Well done. You are the winner of What Do I Say When I See a Small Pig Dressed in a Suit Driving Around in a Yellow Taxi. And as a thanks, you receive this prize. Ouch! Okay, that one has now gone up in flames. What is that noise?
Don't mind me, just creating my evil robot army.
Could you just give it 10 minutes while I finish my recording, though, please, evil scientist?
I'm sorry. Like the world will be when they try to mess with...
Come on.
So sorry.
Right, the next letter... Ah, it's so hot to touch again. I really wish I'd learnt from last time.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Thanks, guys, thanks. Okay, so this letter, which is also on fire, this is a joke from Lingus in the US who says, my joke is, can a matchbox? No, but a tin can. Excellent joke, Lingus, thank you. I know it is a clever play on words, but also, wouldn't it be cool if tins could box? And then you'd be all like, I'll have this tin of baked beans, please, and it would just punch you in the face. No, wait, actually, that would be terrible, and you'd never get to eat beans again.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Ouch. Thank you for your messages, and if you want to send in anything else at all, whether it's a joke or something you want to read out on the show, like an intro,
Raid Shadow Legends,
or a question you have that needs to be answered, please ask your nearest windy blatherskite, sorry, I mean grown-up, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclubforkids.co.uk. Or you can give the show a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Amazon Music, or leave a message on the Spotify Q&A. Also, if your grown-ups fancy supporting this podcast for a very small monthly fee, they can subscribe you to the Linda Edition on Apple Podcasts, Acast Plus, or patreon.com/Comedy Club for Kids, and you will get exactly this show, exactly the same, But you'll get it one day earlier and with 0 advertisements. Or should that be no additional advertisements? I'm not really sure. Rage Shadow Legends. I suppose in a way that is an advert for Rage Shadow Legends, whatever or whoever they are. Anyway, while I bask in the comfort of this lovely warm glowing lava and my roommate over there keeps making a robot army, why don't you listen to this most important bit?
If you fall into a volcano crater...
Hooray! Yes, he's back on Radio Nonsense, and he's best known for being the official namer of all of the storms. It's Mr Fibbers! How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. See that last storm that came about? I just wrote down random letters. I don't even know how you pronounce it.
That was amazing. It was like Ego-Argan. Ego-Ugan-Argan?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure to name a storm or a piece of IKEA furniture. It was bizarre.
Yeah, it was good. Well, I think
it.
it was quite powerful. It probably threw quite a lot of IKEA furniture bits around, didn't it? So
Yeah, massively. But it was great having to rebuild it all. Do you know what I mean? It's just like adult Lego.
yeah, it is, isn't it? It's almost exactly the same as adult Lego, except you often just have bits that don't fit a second time round or don't really work or.
Yeah, I always find see whenever I build anything, I've always got lots of stuff left over, and it worries me. And I'm like, have I missed something? I'll find out. It's fine when the bed collapses in the middle of the night. It's fine.
The frightening is if you it's the little wooden pegs. And you know what I'm talking about, and maybe our listeners won't, but there's little wooden pegs with IKEA, and there's nearly always some left over at the end, and you think, oh no, this will be my downfall every time.
Yeah. Very much. I built some. Oh, I'm going off subject here, but I built some wardrobes recently in my son's room, and I was so chuffed. Done it all myself, pushed it up, and I looked to the bottom, and one of those wooden pegs was like out of line, and I hadn't connected it properly, so I had to pull it back down and like take it apart and put it back together.
Would you think it was better if instead of building those stuff out of IKEA, like we just built everything out of Lego? Shouldn't we just build everything out of Lego?
I would. I'm obsessed with Lego. I don't know if you can see behind me. Obviously, you can't on a podcast, but you can
describe
see
the
me.
listeners. Mr. Fibbers has a veritable metropolis of Lego. He's built worlds, universes. There are citizens and populations. It's quite incredible.
There is a transformer. There is a metropolis.
Yes.
And there's also a little panda as well in the corner there. And I've started all about my room. It's a shame you guys can't see this. It's amazing. You're missing out, everybody.
Can I ask, in terms of leadership of this Lego area, is the panda in charge or is the transformer in charge?
Well, I think the panda, because the panda's got a baby panda there, so the panda's standing strong, being like the boss.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, they're quite calm, but they're deadly, aren't they? I think pandas, they're like secret deadly. Is that right?
They are. Yeah, I think so. That's why they're sort of black and white, because you don't know if they're good guys or bad guys. You know, that kind of thing.
Like domino kind of yin and yang all at once.
Yeah, exactly. And you've seen Kung Fu Panda. They have a force that even they don't know about sometimes.
That's very exciting. You see, the only thing I know about pandas, and I don't, you probably know this, but when they do a wee, they have to do a handstand against a tree, and that's how they wee. And I genuinely think that's one of the best things, like because at what point, as an animal, they're like, oh, we can sit normally, we can climb a tree, we can eat this, but to do a wee, I have to get into a handstand against. Like, it's the weirdest extra thing.
Imagine we had to do that, and that's something you had to teach your kids to do. Like, all right, you need a toilet, right? Hold on, right? How's your handstand? Oh, it's trickling down my face again. Would
toilets have to be? They'd have to be like higher up. I can't even imagine how a toilet would have to look if you had to handstand to wee in it.
This is weird. I don't even want to think about that. It's just the most bizarre thing.
It is, but it's also probably why pandas don't have toilets. I think that's probably because it would be pointless, wouldn't it?
Yeah, very true. I do know a random fact is obviously they eat bamboo, and bamboo is the fastest growing grass on the planet.
Wow.
So there you go. Interesting.
So it's like endless, like fast food for them.
Yeah, pretty much. So they'll probably finish a piece and it's in their hand and it's still growing, and they're like, "Oh, I thought it was finished. This bit. Oh, it's growing again."
Oh man, I wish my food did that.
I know. You imagine like you sit with a chicken kebab, or for yourself a tofu kebab, and and it just keeps growing back in your hand. That'd be amazing.
It would be so dangerous. I'd just never stop eating because it'd be like, this bag of crisps just keeps refilling. I'm gonna eat it forever.
I love how we've both gone down the healthy route of kebabs
Yeah.
and crisps. There we go.
Well, come on, like you wouldn't listen. Look, I mean, I'm sure the listeners would agree. If you had a celery in your hand that kept regrowing, you'd be like, "Oh man!" But it takes so long to chew already. I don't want to keep having to chew celery for the rest of my life. That'd be
I wouldn't
so
even
boring.
want. Do you know celery is one of the only things I can't eat? It makes me actually vomit. It's horrible.
It is horrible.
It's the devil's food. And rhubarb, rhubarb is just celery in disguise. And people trick you and they think, oh, you can dip it in sugar. It's a treat. It's not. It's celery in disguise.
Is that
horrible.
wow? Rhubarb's like kind of just sort of fun-coloured celery. Is that what it is? It's just sort of
that's
dressed
it. They
up for
painted them.
carnival.
They're like, no one likes celery. Let's paint ourselves. Ha ha ha! I tricked you. I'm actually
Wow.
celery. Horrible. Stuff.
Wow. But I find with rhubarb, I don't mind if like I had a rhubarb flavour, like if I had I'm trying to think of something more exciting than a yogurt, but normally it's like a yogurt. You get yogurt flavours for like shoe flavour yogurt. It's always like, if there's a flavour, there's a yogurt of it. You know what I mean?
Shoe.
There's always like puffer fish yogurt, you know, drain sewage system yogurt. There's something, but like, there's
Bin
like a
juice
rhubarb
yogurt.
bin juice yogurt. That's one of my favorites. And like, but there's rhubarb yogurts, and I'm like, I can handle this. But then real rhubarb, I cannot handle. It's wrong.
Yeah, it is, and it's a weed as well. Do you know, it just grows randomly in the garden. Like nobody plants it; it just grows.
That
Who
is
wants
weird.
that?
Do you know that they like that, I don't know if it's still a thing, but when people were in the backgrounds of TV shows and they had to just make talking noise, that it was said that you had to just go rhubarb, 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 rhubarb.
I've done that.
Have
I've
you?
generally done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back, I used to do kids shows, and I was in a show. God, what was it now? Stacey Stone. It was called, and that's what I had to do. And someone just suggested this to me. So we sat down, and I'm in the background, and I'm chatting to the main character, and I just started going rhubarb, 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 rhubarb. And she just stared at me and went, "What?" I was like, I'm just trying to make it look like we're talking. And then the microphone guy had picked it up as well, and he came over and asked. He's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, I don't know. I was just told to do it.
But also, if you don't know, like you've been told to do it, but like for her, that must have been like, why would you talk about this awful weed that no one likes? Why do you keep like? You must really like it. This is awful. I don't want to work with you, the rhubarb guy.
Maybe I did used to eat it all the time, and I've just hated it now because of that moment. It's just triggered in my brain. I'm like, no, I don't like rhubarb because it was a horrible moment for me.
Maybe. Yeah, I do. I feel like the rhubarb PR campaign, the rhubarb advertisers clearly got this in as like, this is how we get people to like, no one's going to talk about rhubarb on purpose because they don't like it. But this is how we get people talking about it, by saying it sounds like you're talking.
Yeah. And they've also, they put it into kids' shows, rhubarb and custard.
Yes.
They made that, you know, that, I don't know if I can do the song. That one, rhubarb and custard, it makes you think, oh, I could eat rhubarb. It's like what they did with Popeye and spinach. Like, and people are like, oh, I'll eat spinach now. They tried it with rhubarb. It failed. Do you know why? Because it's minging. There we go.
That's true. Even with custard. That's true.
Even with
That's
custard.
very true. Do you think it's the same, like how rhubarb's used for talking? Because I don't know if you've ever, like, tried to learn how to do beatboxing, but one of the things they say is you go boots and cats and boots and cats. And I sometimes think, like, Puss in Boots has done that, right? And, like, Puss in Boots has got himself into more stories. Obviously, he's in, like, films now. There weren't films about Puss in Boots before. But so in Puss in Boots, like, I'm just a fairy tale. But if I can get into, like, make people believe I'm beatboxing, like the beginnings of it, then people will talk about
I'm in
it all the
everything.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. No, I did. I learned a bit of beatboxing during lockdown. Remember lockdown? Oh, it's a horrible time. But I learned a bit of beatboxing as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember why it was. Everyone was just too cold to go outside, and we thought, oh, we'll just stay inside for a little while.
I think so. I think maybe just we lost our keys or something and we couldn't get out. There was something happened. I can't really remember. It was like 4,000 years ago now, wasn't it? Is it about 4,000?
Yeah. I think it was about 4,000. Well, 4 years ago it was about 4,000. 4,000 years ago, I think.
Yeah, 4,004 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, good number. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
so
beatboxing was fun.
Can you how many boxes can you beat?
Oh, I maybe learned how to beatbox two, or how to beat two boxes.
Do they have to be flattened?
Nailed
it. Do they like? Can you do it if they got the sellotape on them? Or do they have to be flattened boxes?
You have to do the thing where you press the edge and then rip the sellotape off and then flatten it down, and then you just
That's it. That's good. While making great noises with your face.
Exactly. You don't even need to make the noises. It's just the sound of the boxes getting beaten.
Oh, is that what does it? Is that what
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
the really cool sounds?
It's, you get a box and you punch in. It's like as you punch it.
Wow. I never knew that. That would make it a lot easier because I think I've just been trying to do it in my mouth without the boxes. And actually, had I collected a lot of boxes, I could have been far more entertaining. You know?
Well, do you know what? You need more IKEA furniture. You get plenty of boxes with that.
Yes.
You do. Getting an endless amount of boxes.
Yeah, and beating them would help me when I've realised I've left out the wooden pegs and everything's broken.
Yeah, and then you just get the Allen key and you can build the boxes back up again.
Oh,
Boom,
man.
full
Alan
circle.
Key, he was such a great guy. He
was.
made such a brilliant thing, and I just think if listeners don't know what an Allen key is, like just ask ask one of your grown ups and they will smile. They'll think, "Wow, this is like one of the best keys because it's magic."
It
the
is.
Allen key. You just
It's
turn it.
named after Allen Key himself.
Yeah.
Who he was very good at building things, but a terrible singer.
Yes, yeah, yes, that's true. He was an awful singer.
He just made up his own key, and everyone's like, that doesn't match any of ours. That's not A, B, C, D, or whatnot. That's just Alan's key.
Yeah.
No one else could sing along with him.
No, it's a real shame. But then he had that very funny shaped finger that could really like sort of help build furniture, and they modelled the key on his strange finger, and and now he's famous. Even though he can't sing.
And each finger was a different size
Yes,
as well,
yeah,
depending on the furniture. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? I mean, he was very lucky. I think really born with a gift, even if it wasn't a gift for singing. But...
Exactly, and his toes were spoons.
Yeah, that was. I mean... Yeah, old Spoon Toes Alan. I mean, that was. I have to say, like, and obviously, I didn't know Alan. I didn't grow up with him, but everyone saw the video of him eating cereal with his toes, and that was worse than rhubarb. I'm sorry.
Yes, it was. It was. I'm glad YouTube wasn't invented back then.
That's true. No one else needs to see Alan eating cereal with his toes. Old Alan Spoon Toes Key. A strange guy, but thank goodness for him. Good inventor of stuff. Yeah, it's like there's certain people I think like if you have a surname, well, you've got a good surname because your surname is Fibbers, but if you have a surname like the Earl of Sandwich, and then he invented sandwiches, and you're like, well, you had to, didn't you? Because it would have been weird if you'd invented something else.
Yeah, but imagine what he invented was something really different. It wasn't a sandwich, and that's what you would have just now, like a hammer. Oh, I just need to bang this nail in with my sandwich. Doesn't sound right. Sandwich just fits.
Yeah, it does fit. It fits, and you'd be really annoyed with like a meal deal because you'd be like, I'll have some crisps and a drink and then a sandwich, and then they'd give you a hammer, and you'd be like, oh, I can't eat that for lunch. This is really painful.
Just battering your Scotch egg with it, like, oh,
Yeah.
just take it up a little bit. What it's for?
Whoa, you could have really tough Scotch eggs. Wow. That's an interesting idea. Yeah. Eggs that have got like proper armor to them. And
Yeah,
come
like
with a free hammer.
it's just a normal egg with the shell still on it, and that's what you've got to use. You've got to use your sandwich, a hammer, to get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this is a dangerous road to go down, but if a hammer was called a sandwich, what do you think a hammer would be called?
Oh, that's a good question. What could we call the hammer? A bang stick.
A bang stick.
Yeah. No, a bang out stick, because that's what happens. You bang and then go. Ah!
Oh yes, that's true. That is true. Yeah, they are. It's weird how hammers are attracted to fingers like that, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like the
It's a really
magnets for
bad
them.
design flaw. Like you think if you make a hammer, it should aim at a nail rather than your hand. Like who did? Yeah, that wasn't
think no
Alan
matter where
Key.
you
Alan
aim-
Key wouldn't have done that. I'm just saying.
No, Alan Key. I mean, yeah, he'd have come up with something better. Is it worthwhile putting in a caution here to not play with hammers or sandwiches if you're at home just now listening? They're very dangerous.
I mean,
Both
the
are
thing
very
is,
dangerous.
It depends because I mean, I would trust the listeners to play with if they've got sandwiches as we know them to be sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think why not play with them? Why not make a massive sandwich tower? Why not build buildings out of sandwiches? Hats, they're quite good.
Hats are good. You could get some good turrets out of a sandwich.
Really good turrets, absolutely. their shape, especially if you cut them into triangles. I think you can do quite a lot there, and I don't want to take that away from them. And if they have hammers, but I suppose they depends on if they're called hammers or not. It gets confusing. I just assume they're not. I don't even know what you would play with hammers. What would you play with them?
I don't know. Maybe like a massive xylophone.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you've got a massive xylophone at home, just be careful. Get an adult before you get a grown up before you start using a hammer on it.
That's really sensible advice.
Yeah.
That's really sensible advice.
Yeah.
I think,
No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, you have to cover all these things because I think a lot of listeners who listen to this, whether they're aged -4 to 306, they are very sensible. But if you have a giant xylophone and you've got a hammer, you're probably going to hit it with the hammer, and you've got to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? Just something else on sandwiches. How much better do sandwiches taste when they're cut into triangles?
Man, it's like science. It's definitely
It's
science.
dynamite, isn't it?
Definitely science. I don't know if they've done scientific tests on it, but it has to be science, right? There has to be some thing that means they are better.
Yeah, exactly. It's like juice from a can or a bottle. From a can always tastes better.
Yeah.
Sandwiches cut into triangles, or toast cut into triangles. Oh,
it's amazing.
it's so good. I don't know what it is.
Do you think it is? And I'm going to say this to someone. I like the crust on bread, and I like the crust on toast. I'm this guy. I like that. I like those bits, right? But when you've got triangles, you just got 2 bits of crust on each one. Whereas when you got cut it in half, you've got 3 bits. You got 3 bits of crust.
Maybe it's that. Do you know? I know someone that they don't butter the edges of the toast.
No.
And then when I did it, he's like, "Well, that's a waste of butter." I was like, "Well, no,
No.
because I'm going to eat the edge." And he went, "No, you don't eat the edge." I was like, "Well, that's the waste. You're wasting the edges."
I hope
And that's
you stop talking to that person.
I did. It's my father-in-law. We don't speak anymore. It makes it really awkward
good.
at Christmas.
Yeah, but listen, he's got to learn a lesson. If you don't butter the edges of bread, who are you? Who are you as a yeah?
I blame the
that makes
parents.
me angry. Can I write him a letter? Can I
Oh,
write
I'd
him
love
an
that.
angry letter?
I would love that. An angry letter from a toast lover.
Yeah,
That
I
was
might
so
write
funny.
it in butter and go, "Is this a waste of butter?" I'm gonna...
But the edges of the envelope as well.
Yeah.
So his fingers get all messy when he opens it. He's like,
He's so
"Darn you,
slippy.
Tiernan!"
You won't be able to hold it. Wow, butter mail is a mean thing to do. I'm very into that. That's a good idea. Very good idea.
I better not get any posts from you in the next week. I am not opening it.
Do you know what? You're safe. Not only because I wouldn't send you a Butterfingers letter, but also because I'm going to eat the butter before it even gets close to the. I'm not going to write with it. It's going to be right there. I'm going to put it on some toast. So I'm not an idiot.
That's all right. That's all right.
Well, listen, Mr Fibbers. It's so nice to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
Again.
It's so good being back.
And I know you've been very busy naming all the storms, but we've got an important question that I think. Well, in fact, I know you're the man that can answer it.
Okay.
But you've done this show before. You know how the rules go. We have got admin questions. Are you all right with some of the admin? And one of them's old admin that's come back as new admin. So I hope that's okay for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think so. I'll find out.
Yeah, well, fine. It's the only way that we're going to get there. Well, listen, the first admin question is old admin that's come back as new admin due to popular demand. Could you believe? And I think I say it's popular demand. It's also people being very cautious, like with the hammers and the xylophones. And I just need to check that because this show is for people of every single possible age that you could possibly imagine in the universe and through time and through multiple dimensions.
Yeah.
I just want to check what rude word you won't be saying during this show.
Oh, right. Well, I'm trying to think. There was a word that I used last time, if I remember rightly, and it was a Japanese word, which was really cool, but I wouldn't say that one again. Slay.
Slay.
I will not be saying slay. Do you know why?
I don't know.
Because the only time you should say slay is at Christmas, and you've got a big white beard, and you've got a reindeer at the front. So I will not be saying slay. Is
it so? Because this is the problem. Like some people go slay as though it means like something's really good, but then why does that mean it's good? Because a big winter sleigh has fallen on it. I don't really understand.
I don't know. Or it could mean to slay like a dragon.
Oh yeah,
which isn't nice either. Some dragons could be nice.
I always think that. I always think dragons have got a bad rap because they've got bad breath, like bad fiery breath. Everyone gets angry, but these guys can't help it.
They can't be more angry than a dragon trying to blow out his birthday candles. Do you know?
I never thought about how annoying that would be.
Have some feelings for the poor dragon. If they're angry, it's because of that. I'm 103. Oh, they've lit up again.
Oh, man. I feel so sad for dragons. What a hard time. They can't even enjoy a birthday.
Exactly. So I definitely won't be saying slay.
That's a great thing to not say, and I appreciate that. And I don't think I'd ever really thought about how that word is used now, and even or why it was used. I mean, I do have to say, I think sleighs are quite cool. I've not really been in one. Obviously, Father Christmas is in one, we know that, but I've never really been in one myself. But I assume they're quite cool to just pop to the shops in.
I mean, I've been in a sledge. That's kind of the same, isn't it?
Is it? It sounds more edgy than a sleigh.
It's an edgy sleigh.
An edgy sleigh, so it's like a dangerous sleigh.
Yeah, I suppose you wouldn't want. Yeah, no, I think I've been in a sledge. That's quite fun.
Yeah, and that's an edgy sleigh. Maybe a sleigh's more calm than that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, from the films that I've seen about Santa, he's got all these cool controls in this sleigh, hasn't he? Yeah. Like loads of little buttons to help the reindeer fly and things. And my sledge didn't have that. It barely had a bit of string that fell off.
Yeah.
So,
what did the string do?
It was so you could drag it back up the hill.
Oh, right. I see. Right. I see. It wasn't like so you could lasso an enemy on the way, or like a very small enemy, really tiny.
That's also really close to you.
Yeah. That's it.
He's like, what are you doing? Just stand still. Stand still.
Yeah, it's
trying to get your ankles.
You got to go for a really specific enemy. Yeah. Well, look. Listen, I agree. I won't say slay in this episode, and I'm very pleased you won't say slay too. So thank you. Thank you very much for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Well, the other question, which I would argue is more important, is quite simply, Mr. Fibbers, would you rather you had to travel everywhere in a 3-legged race with someone you didn't like, or that you projectile vomited every time you saw someone dancing?
Oh, what?
It's hard, man. I know it's hard.
Oh, that's difficult because there's not many people in the world that I don't like. I like lots of people. I'm a very friendly person. I like to get along with as many people as possible.
Sure.
So if there's somebody that I don't like, it means that I really don't like them.
Like they don't butter their toast to the edges or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if I had to get a 3-legged race with my father-in-law, I don't know. Sorry, Jim, if you listen to this. And the other one, if I projectile vomited every time, does that include if I see myself dancing? Because I love to dance.
Yeah, well, you just have
I'm
to
not very
close your
good.
eyes. But you could you could just not look. Like if you dance, you'd have to close your eyes when you were dancing, or looking the other way. You'd have to look.
Is there a level of what's considered dancing? Like sometimes I might just like move. And to me, it's dancing, but to other people, it looks like I'm trying to get a bug out of my clothes.
Well, also, then you've got the confusing problem. If you saw someone trying to get a bug out of their clothes, would you vomit because it looks like they're dancing? And then we've got a big problem. Yeah,
they just need help, and I'm going. Oh.
It's tricky, isn't it? Because there's no sort of specifics about what constitutes as dancing in this. So it's just. I guess it would just be how you react. If you've got this kind of curse because you've chosen this option, I think it would just be whatever you see as dancing.
Do you know, I think I would go for that because if that was the case and I told somebody this and they chose to dance in front of me, then it's their own fault and they can clean it up.
That's fair.
And plus it would mean that if I'm out somewhere that I didn't want to be, like, you know, at college or at work, I would just ask someone to dance and then get sent home and it'd be great. I'll go for that.
That's so good, actually. I hadn't thought about that. Like listeners, if they're at school and they don't want to be at school, they just get someone to dance and then that's it. They're be like, Jonesy, go floss. There you go. Yeah, that would be good. But I feel like there'd also be a lot of events that would be really annoying. There'd be a lot of times you get caught out. But the 3-legged race with someone you hate is going to be hard. It's going to be if you've got to travel everywhere like that.
Yeah, especially if that other person's either really taller than you or really smaller than you.
Yeah.
You just walk in circles.
Yeah. Yeah. And also you'd start to, even if you didn't hate them that much by the beginning, you'd hate them a lot by the end.
Yeah.
You'd be so annoyed.
It doesn't benefit the world, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Well, yeah, fair. I think you've made a very good choice. Thank you very much for taking those questions seriously. Yeah, it's really hard. But we have to ask them. You know the rules. It's important.
I do.
It's important we do these things. Listen, so we've had this question. This is the big thing, though. This is the big question. And I'd love to tell you who this question is from, but their name is very hard to read. I think it's Rutsim Ifb. I think, maybe.
Did you just mumble Mr Fibbers? Because that's what it sounded like.
It does look like that's a really good point. Well, I think if I was to, it looks like it's Mr Fibbers backwards, but I think it's Biffy Mither backwards.
Biffy Mither.
Rhythm Ifib.
I need to make a confession. I actually sent this question in.
Did you?
I was just hoping that you wouldn't figure out it was me. So,
is that how you usually disguise your name? You put your name backwards, and as though you're sort of saying it with like a toffee in your mouth.
Exactly. So instead of it's Mr. Fibbers, it's welcome. There you go. Nobody knows. It's like Superman with his glasses. Nobody knows who it is.
Mr. Fibbers. Well, I suppose in which case you don't. Do you want to answer? It's your own question. If you have to answer your own question, I feel bad that you had to come on this show just to tell yourself something you needed to know.
Well, I think let's call the person Biffy. Shall we just say Biffy? And that way,
Biffy Mithers. Yeah.
Biffy Mithers. Yes.
Yes.
Biffy.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Biffy Mithers.
Well, Biffy Mithers, who's definitely not you with a toffee in your mouth. They have asked. It's a good question, this actually, and it's something I really had to think about when I first read it. They've asked, what would happen if a Kinder Egg had a dino in it?
Like a dinosaur.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing by dino they mean dinosaur, and they don't mean like some guy called Dino or Dino. I don't think they just put a little. I've opened my Kinder Egg. And there's Dino. I don't think there's a little Dino in there. I'm guessing. Yeah, it's Dino. He's in a Kinder Egg. I don't. What are you doing in there, Dino? I don't know. Just sleeping. I don't think that's. I don't think, but they might mean that.
Right. Well, let's take it as that there's a dinosaur in a Kinder Egg. Oh man, there's so many variables there, Biffy. So would you have to build the dinosaur yourself with your Allen keys? Let me have a think. I'm going to imagine that you open it up, and I'm picturing like Jurassic Park, and you open it up, and there's like a baby velociraptor in there. Oh, that's tricky.
Yeah,
that's I would be a little bit scared purely because, I've seen all the Jurassic Park films, and I'll tell you, spoiler alert here, Biffy, none of them end well.
They don't, do they? There's no.
They do not.
It's a shame that I think they're missing out on that. Really, that there should be a little bit at the end where everyone. Well, I was going to say they all dance with the dinosaurs, but then you'd be sick. So maybe. Yeah,
then I'd vomit everywhere. Yeah. No, none of them do, and they never learn either. They never learn, and they go, do you know what? We'll try this again. So,
really
man, I'd be a little bit scared. But also, if I was the only one that had a Kinder Egg that had a dinosaur in it, and it could grow up and it could be mine, that'd be really cool. Imagine your commute to work, you get stuck in all that traffic, and it's so annoying. Not me. I've got Norbert the dragon. No, he's not a dragon. He's a dinosaur. I've got my dinosaur. I'll just jump on him, stomp my way through the cars. Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
It would be good. Norbert's a very good name for a dinosaur, or indeed a dragon, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, I did pinch that from Harry Potter, I must admit. Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, I think I would be surprised, like, and a bit scared, like, and then kind of like when you open a Kinder Egg, but the opposite. You're supposed to go. I think the old thing was you used to shake it and go, and open it and go, wow, and then taste it, and go, Whereas I would be like, There'd be a mix of emotions.
Is it good? Well, listen, I've got two questions. One thing I should say is that we've got any listeners in America that are listening to this. Kinder eggs are banned where you are because they're too dangerous already. So if they had dinosaurs in, they'd be even more banned, apparently. But if you don't know what they are, they're little egg. They say there's 3 surprises in one, but it's not really a surprise because you know there's chocolate when you unwrap it, which is not really a surprise. And then under the chocolate is white chocolate, and then under the white chocolate is a little egg that when you open it, there's a little toy. It's the 3 surprises meant to be chocolate, white chocolate, toy, but you know there's chocolate. I feel it's a little bit of a scam. But...
Yeah, I mean, you know everything that's in it. You know there's a toy, you know there's an egg, and you know there's chocolate. So there's not really 3 surprises. I think that's right. I used to get, because I used to live in Italy, and we used to, that was a treat when you get the box with the 3 in them. And that was always like really cool. And you used to get a little turtle in some of them, or a terrapin. They're kind of like dinosaurs.
Not a real terrapin? No,
not a real one. No, it was a toy one.
Right,
it was
sure.
A toy one.
That's probably better. Yeah. Did you, when you were in Italy, did they have Dino in, the guy Dino? Was he in any?
Dino wasn't in it. Dino sold the Kinder eggs. He'd be like, hey, Tony. Even though he was from Italy, he spoke like a New Yorker. Hey, Tony, I got a Kinder egg for you.
I knew it.
Forget about it.
He's got a violin case full of Kinder eggs. Well, the other question I was going to ask is if it had a dinosaur in it. I'd say, because I would be worried about this. I'd be worried about how old the Kinder egg was, and should I eat the chocolate? Because is this chocolate millions and millions of years old?
Is it really old? Yeah, because then it would all be white chocolate. You know how chocolate turns white when it's really old?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I still eat it. Like if I open up an old bar of chocolate and it's gone that kind of weird, kind of fisty way and all white and horrible, I'm still like, well, do you know what? It's still pretty tasty. I'm still gonna go for it.
Is it like 1,000-year-old eggs are meant to be a delicacy? So if you had like a 1 million-year-old Kinder egg, that's like a super delicacy.
Yeah, a super delicacy. I wouldn't want to eat it though if I had the dinosaur in it though.
That's true. Yeah, of course.
I'm assuming that's what Biffy's meaning. Like it's not like, I'm not going to eat the dinosaur. I wouldn't anyway. I think that'd be mean.
You might do. I mean, I'd have thought like other Kinder eggs, you eat the chocolatey bit and then the dinosaur would be in the little separate egg inside it. Yeah. Anyway, so you can still eat the chocolate.
Yeah, no, that's all right then. That's all right. Yeah, how old would the chocolate be? Oh, that'd be bizarre.
Yeah. I would also worry about where the dinosaurs' parents were.
Yeah, so you've just eaten this egg, got the dinosaur baby and think, oh, this is going to be great. And then suddenly you hear a kind of knock at the door and you open it up there and the mum dinosaur is like, where's my baby? That would be even worse. Oh my goodness! How did you find me? First of all,
this is why I have experts like you on the show, because I didn't realize dinosaurs were so polite. It's so nice that they knock on doors like that, and then I didn't realize they spoke in that sort of like that's a really
evolved.
Impressive voice. Yeah,
they've evolved. I don't know if I've answered the question or if I've added more questions to this question. It's a really good one. It makes you think. It really does. Yeah,
I mean, I think you did give the initial answer of the amazing noises that they Miffy Whiffers did ask what would you do, and you were right. You would make those series of 3 noises.
The 3 noises, yeah. And
that is an answer, but I suppose with all of these questions, life doesn't just stop. It's not like you make noises, end of day, everything's done. Life carries on. That dinosaur's got to live. You've got to live. We've got to,
Tiernan, life finds a way.
Yes, exactly.
It does.
Exactly.
That's a quote from Jurassic Park.
This is how the next movie's going to end, where somehow they finally stop all the dinosaurs, but there's one in a Kinder egg, and it can't go to America.
Maybe they do a crossover with like the new Wonka film, and that's what's happened. Is like he's like Richard Attenborough, the guy that owned the place. He's gotten rid of it. He's like, nah, listen, I've done this 7 times now. It's not once worked. Let's just leave it. But then Willy Wonka goes on his adventure and is like, oh, this scrumptiddlyumptious island. Let me check this out. And he makes Kinder Eggs with dinosaurs, and that's his new thing. And he thinks it's great, but really it's another disaster, only with Oompa Loompas as the victims.
I would watch that. I would watch a velociraptor rampaging through the chocolate factory. I think that's a beautiful. I think that's the film we all need to see. Sometimes these crossovers. Sometimes you see these films and you think, you're just making that to make more money. But sometimes, like this one, I think genuinely it would be the best film of the series, of both series.
I think it'd be. Imagine them coming out like when it gets eaten by a dinosaur and they just come out and go Oompa loompa doopity.
It's beautiful. That's beautiful. There's famous film directors that can only dream of being able to get their hands on something like that.
Exactly. That's a copyrighted kind of script now. So,
yeah.
if
Quickly
anyone
do
wants
it.
to take
Send
that,
it. Send it to yourself in an envelope. Don't write it with butter.
Don't write it with butter, no.
Yeah, just in case. And then, although no one else would be able to get their hands on it if you did, so maybe it's a good idea. Yeah, it's true. Well, listen, I think you answered that question wonderfully. Thank you, and I hope that Biffy, yeah, is happy with that. They should be.
I hope they're not whiffy.
Are you happy with your own answer if it is you?
Yeah, although I probably won't sleep tonight because I'm going to be thinking more about this occasion if it happens. So, Whiffy Biffy, thank you for that. I will not sleep now.
Yeah, how many Kinder Eggs are you going to go out and buy after this just to check if there's dinosaurs in them?
I think I don't know if I want to. I think if I'm brave, I think I'll leave it tonight, and then tomorrow I might go out and just buy a whole tray of them.
Yeah, and you could. Actually, I say I wouldn't want to hurt the dinosaur. I was going to say you could open them all with a hammer, but maybe it's not a good idea.
Do you mean a sandwich? Or
a sandwich? Yes, I meant the sandwich. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Well, listen, Mr. Fibbers, it's so nice having you on the show. I have to ask, what have you got coming up in the next 37 seconds?
In the next 37 seconds, I don't know what I'm doing, but in the next couple of months, I do have a couple of shows on.
Oh, nice.
So
where are they?
Yeah. Well, they are, they're not in America, if you're over there.
No Kinder Eggs, no Mr. Fibbers. They are having a hard time.
I know, it's a sad life for them. It's the worst moment of the year so far. I'll say no more. But so I've got 2 shows on, and they'll be my last shows for a wee while. I'm going to take a little break from doing my own solo shows for a while. So they're going to be at Rutherglen and East Kilbride Arts Centre. So if anyone lives around about that area, it'd be lovely to see you all there.
And what are the dates? You can't just say that and assume that we know all of the days of the year.
You're assuming that I remember the dates of them.
Do we just have to turn up on the...
Just turn up every day in April. And
then hopefully you'll be there at some... So it's in April. At least if they know around about time. April... That's
7th of April and the 16th, I believe.
There you go. Very good.
For the 2 of them, yeah. So it's musical comedy, because that's what I love to do. I love to sing daft songs and tell funny jokes and things. So, yeah.
Excellent. And if they see you and they've got more questions about dinosaurs in Kinder Eggs, I'm sure you'd be more than happy to oblige.
I will stop the show and I will respond. And that absolutely. You'll put me on a tangent. I'll even stop halfway through a song.
This is necessary. Bring your Kinder Eggs. You can unwrap them live on stage. See if dinosaurs are in them. Then you can bring some boxes, beat them. There's a whole world of butter some toast. I hope they go fantastically well. And I'm gutted I'm going to miss them because I'm going to be buying every Kinder Egg in my local shop to start my own Jurassic Park.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Tiernan.
Thanks, Duds. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
But honestly, you might as well forget it if you fall into a volcano.
Thanks so much to Mr. Fibbers for being able to take time out of avoiding rhubarb to help answer Blither Mither's question. If you are based in Scotland, then do go and see his brilliant kids comedy show On the Plectrum at the East Kilbride Arts Centre on the 7th of April and the Rutherglen Town Hall on the 16th of April. And I shall pop the ticket links in the podcast blurb. Blither Mither, I hope you liked your answer, but if not, why not put any complaints you have inside a Kinder Egg and then a dinosaur will eat it and I'll never have to see it. If you have a question that needs to be answered or you just want to send in anything else at all, then please do get your nearest windy blatherskites, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. Also, if your grown-ups fancy supporting this podcast for a very small fee, they can subscribe you to the advert-free Linda edition on Apple Podcasts, Acast Plus, or patreon.com/Comedy Club for Kids. Oh, and if you don't listen already, I also co-host Bust or Trust, a kids mystery podcast about all sorts of spooky and strange mysteries, so please do check out that show too.
Rage Shadow Legends.
Actually, I'm starting to think it's a bit noisy, this volcano. Maybe it's not the best place to record a podcast show. Okay, so that was Raid Shadow Legend Guitars, the Robot Army, and then what was that last noise?
We've made too much noise. It's disrupted the lava flow. Now the volcano is going to erupt. Fly, my pretty metal friends.
Right, well, please don't make too much noise before you go then, okay? And can I also get a lift with you and your robots, maybe?
Bye!
Raid Shadow Legends, would you mind giving me a lift out of here?
We can't. We are merely shadows, and so can't carry or help anything or anyone. Bye from Rage Shadow Legends. We're out of here.
Well, I guess I'd better leave then before... See you next week. Bye!
You have been listening to
Comedy Club for Kids presents.
Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. It's the end.